Ping! My phone chimed as I received a text. I got up from the desk and walked toward my bedroom door. I stepped on the pressure pad just inside my room, and the robotic arm on my bedside table extended toward me. The plastic hand opened, revealing my phone resting in its palm. I unplugged the phone from the tiny power jack jutting from the plastic wrist. You know, with just a few weeks designing a 3D printer and a trip to a Halloween store, I never had to search my room for my phone. It was simply offered to me as I left. It wasn't really invention convention material, but it kept me from forgetting my phone. My room was a mess of inventions like that. Actually, to the casual observer, my room was just a mess. Okay, maybe to the astute observer too. But hey, I have a very complex and detailed pile system. I can find any book, note, or schematic in any of the many piles around my room. Really, my dad didn't always agree with my system. He had me clean my room once, and I was lost for months. We finally met halfway. As long as there were no dirty dishes and the dirty clothes stayed in the hamper, I was golden. I sat on my bed and checked my phone. The next text was from Noah. What are we going to do? I wasn't sure if he meant our missing drone or the Conway situation, but my answer was the same for both. My thumb flew across my phone screen. Don't worry, we'll figure it out. None of us had a chance to talk after the big computer blackout. At first, we thought it was just the computers in the computer lab that went down. It turned out that every computer in the entire school went out. I didn't realize just how much our school relied on computers until we couldn't use them at all. The students weren't the only ones taking computers for granted. The teachers used them for electronic slideshows, pulling examples from the internet, and even making notes digitally on the electronic boards in front of each class. The afternoon classes were a little chaotic, to say the least. Teachers dug out old dry erase boards and overhead projectors, the ones with bulbs that still worked. Even the school bell system was offline. Individual classes dismissed according to the classroom clocks, and since the clocks weren't synchronized, class beginning and ending times were staggered throughout the whole school. Ping! You don't really think Mr. Conway crashed the computers, do you? Noah asked in his next text, because we were looking into him. The timing is pretty suspicious, I replied. He doesn't seem like the kind of person who would do something like that, Noah wrote. Unless he was a wanted hacker trying to cover his tracks, I thought. Instead, I wrote, you're right, he doesn't. Tom, my dad called from downstairs. Dinner's ready. Gotta go, I typed. Talk to you tomorrow. I slipped the phone into my pocket and went downstairs. My dad had the table set and a freshly cooked meatloaf ready to go. I had to hand it to him. For someone who runs a major tech company with massive government contracts, he always made time to have dinner with me every night. Since my mom died when I was little, he has always tried to be two parents in one. Luckily, being his own boss lets him set his own hours and even work from home when he wants. Heard you had an interesting day at school today, he said. I froze mid-bite. Was he talking about our lost drone? Had someone told him about our Conway investigation? Tom Swift Sr. knew about everything that went on in Swift Enterprises. It would make sense that he would keep his ear to the ground at the next door Swift Academy. I mean, when they both have your name on them, you kind of have to. The computer outage, my dad asked. He chuckled. Surely you noticed. I laughed, mostly with relief. Oh yeah, it was crazy. I told him about the teacher scrambling to find low-tech solutions to replace his high-tech problems. Mr. Wilkins seemed happy about the whole thing, I said. He thinks we rely too much on technology. He said it was a good chance for the teachers to stretch their brains for a change. I'm sure he has a point there, my dad said. Still, we're sending in someone to fix things. We think someone uploaded a virus into the system. Oh yeah? I said. Do you know who it was? I asked. You don't have to be a world-famous hacker to upload a virus to a computer system. Then again, a world-famous hacker would probably do it with ease and not get caught. No, and that's not the priority right now, my dad replied. We need to clean the virus as soon as possible. After all, the Academy's servers are tied to Swift Enterprises. There are firewalls in place, but you never know. This was news to me, and I mentally kicked myself for not thinking of it sooner. Of course there was a link between the Swift Academy and Swift Enterprises, other than the name. But I didn't know their computer systems were linked somehow. Suddenly the meatloaf felt like a rock in my stomach. Do you think someone was trying to hack into the company's servers? I asked. My dad shrugged. I doubt it. It was probably just an overzealous student. Wouldn't be the first time. My father seemed way too nonchalant about the whole thing. But if Mr. Conway was really Shadow Hawk, and if he got a job at the Academy to be closer to Swift Enterprises, and if he released the virus, then it was a big deal. I opened my mouth to tell my dad about our suspicions, but then I closed it again. There was one problem. Way too many ifs. I couldn't go to my dad with some half-baked conspiracy theory. He warned me about having too many side interests as it is. He thinks I don't apply myself enough at school. Sure, I make decent grades and all. And sure, if I concentrated more, I would probably ace all of my classes. The trouble is, I like exploring everything and get excited about some new idea or invention. My dad would take this Conway investigation with just another distraction. He wouldn't take it seriously. We need more than just a theory. Ping! I pulled out my phone when it chimed again. It was probably Noah. I opened my messages to a text from an unknown number. Back off, it read. That was weird. Must have been a wrong number or something. Or maybe one of my friends got a new phone and was updating his or her contacts. Strange way to announce a new phone purchase, though. I quickly typed a reply. Who is this? There was no response. No phones at the table, Tom, my dad said. Sorry, I replied, slipping the phone back into my pocket. My dad and I finished dinner. We talked more about my day and his day, what he could tell me that wasn't top secret. But honestly, I don't remember our conversation. My mind kept going back to the Conway conspiracy and that strange text.